we should never forget that the Knights of Rizal, yes, it is important that we are a social club and we build connections. But Jose Rizal once said, I entered the future bringing it in with me my past. So it is a duty, in fact, of the knight of any Knight of Rizal, even if you're not a historian, to be familiar with the life works writings of Jose Rizal as a constant inspiration for us to soldier on despite the difficult times of the pandemic. You know, the Terror de Manila debacle that we have had, in which I accidentally became the Knights of Rizal spokesperson for the case. Just because, in a way, some of the Knights are camera shy when the Senate inquiry happened. I was just a resource person for the history of the Luneta. But when, of course, the reporters were there, and then, they pushed me there and said, talk to the media. And I became the spokesperson. I tell you something. This is like an admission of something. At first, I really thought that we cannot do anything about it. Because the law, there's no law that can stop it. There's all these regulations and all these things, but there are also loopholes in the law. And I said, actually, we cannot do anything about it. But I like the idea of the Writ of PAMANA. The Writ of PAMANA said that even if there's no law that can stop it, Supreme Court is stop it for the sake of PAMANA. Writ of PAMANA and kasaysayan. We played with that idea. Our legal team played with that idea. Si Atty. Sarino, of course, and of course, Mark Buado was helping them in the secretariat. But what I'm saying here, just to answer the question, is this. The Terror de Manila, despite the fact that we lost there, we actually won also.
How so,
Because
sir?
the Torre de Manila case was the longest Supreme Court oral arguments ever in the history of the Supreme Court, ever. And what was the topic? Not a crime, not corruption in the sense of corruption money. In the Supreme Court, they were talking about the soul of the nation. What is heritage? How can we take care of it? And the Torre de Manila, despite the fact that we lost, became the byword for any heritage case that's happening in the country today, in such a way that people will always refer to the Torre de Manila. That's the same thing that happened with the Torre de Manila. You did not have consultation, etc. And people are more conscious of heritage issues now, if you're going to look at the internet, because of the Torre de Manila issue. May ganun pala, may sightline pala. We have to take care pala of monuments. We have to take care pala of old houses. Why? In the previous administration in Manila, there are so many heritage issues. People are becoming aware. Because what happened? Yes, Carlos Celdran was the first one to drum it up. But the Knights of Rizal had the balls to join Carlos Celdran and even file a Supreme Court case. We walk the talk in that sense. We showed them that despite the fact that all legal odds are against us, we're going to show you, we're going to file something to the Supreme Court. Just to demonstrate that we
you
are
serious about it.
About taking care of the Rizal monument.
Heritage.
And so I think in that sense we won. And in one sense, another thing, sir, just to add to this, we won because we are able to prove in such a concrete way that because of the Torre de Manila issue, that the Filipino people still think that Jose Rizal is important in this country. Because we were joined by the people. The people agreed that the tower, that condo was ugly at the back of the Rizal Monument. And people were enraged by this in social media. People were saying, this is our #1 landmark. It's like our Eiffel Tower. It's like our Washington Monument. And then you put something there, which is a monument to commercialism. So
Now,
I think that's where it is. Now, I'm going to your point, I'm sorry, became long, about the businessmen being more careful about heritage issues, and also the knowledge, because it became talked about, that you can actually use heritage for tourism and therefore for income generation. People are more aware of heritage, that if there's an old house or there's an old building, maybe you can take away the interior, those that cannot be saved already, but those that can be saved, you save them, and then you put it to adaptive reuse, because you maintain the spirit of the structure, but you make it attuned with the times today. So you make it a restaurant, for example, or you make it a hotel, it doesn't matter. But people are now more conscious. They're like, nangangapa na yun sila na they will not just do it. Even if the Torre de Manila won. People are more conscious na, oh, baka ma-social media tayo. It would be very bad for the business.
PR. Now, sir, I wanted to throw you an idea. Just because, like I said, the dust has settled. The Supreme Court has already made its opinion and its judgment.
Right.
How about, sir, and the main problem with the masa, with the Torre de Manila, is that it's a photo bomber. When
Yeah.
they take a picture of Rizal, of a selfie with Rizal, the background, which used to be just that the monument of Rizal, also now is being defaced
There's a,
by
there's a
the structure.
competition. Yeah, there's
Yes.
a competition.
So why not, sir? And this is my idea. I thought about why not, sir? Uh, why can't we turn the facade of Rizal and his back would be on Manila Bay? So
Okay. Mm-hmm.
uh, that will solve the problem of the selfie problem, I call it, uh, and be in a way finding a nexus between heritage and business. Now that the Supreme Court already said sided with the business the
Okay.
opinion.
My my take on that is this. When I used to agree with that idea.
So
I
that
used
idea
to
was
agree with it.
floated already before.
It was
Okay.
floated in the middle of all of it. And there was, of course, a lot of backlash to that Congress. It was I think, a council of a congressman who suggested it. And then you have to point to, there's one historian in UST who told me that, and it's his fault. But, because of the backlash. But this is what I thought. I used to agree with that idea, because the Knights of the Rizalistas believe that Rizal is looking outward. It's like Rizal faces the foreigners. It's like we're getting the ginhawa from the foreigners. We have to look inside of us. That's why it says, turn the monument back so that it internally looks at us. Now, but this is the problem now. Further research by Ian Morley of I think, the University of Hong Kong about urban planning in Manila resurrected some old files from the American government of the real intention of the Rizal Monument.
The capital, U.S.
Yeah,
capital.
yes, but also the monument itself, why it's facing the sea.
I see.
Because apparently, the because remember that there was a time that there was no Burnham Green, diba? There was no Quirino Grandstand, there was no Oceanville. When ships are coming to Luneta, they are actually looking at the Rizal Monument as like, welcome to Manila, welcome to the Philippines. It's like our Statue of Liberty. It's like our Ellis Island. So when you look at that in that sense, the original intention is that really Rizal welcomes people to Manila. people from the provinces, people from, that, you're welcome in the nation's capital. And also, if we're going to turn back the monument, the great problem would be is that we will be destroying its historic position for many, many years. Now, because we accepted and we respected the Supreme Court decision, I already made recommendations to people in my post how to take a picture of yourself with the Rizal Monument without seeing the Torre de Manila. When I go to the Luneta, I take away my eyes from the tower and just feel, ang lawak eh. Ang sarap. Ang sarap, di ba? Tanggalin mo na lang yung monumento. Kasi pag nilagyan mo pa na kung ano-ano doon, yung mga puno-puno, sisikip pa yun eh. Ang sarap sa Rizal Monument. Ang sarap sa Luneta. Ang sarap sa Masyal. So, that's why, it's we just look at the simplicity of the Rizal Monument. And it's a testament in itself of arrogance. Look at the Rizal Monument. It's supposed to be imposing. Our national hero is supposed to be the focus. But he humbles himself. Because, in this country, the arrogance is, more appreciated.
Being a historian, sir, in the Rizalism, Rizalist world, the Knights of Rizal has been 110 years since 1911. Where do you see the Knights of Rizal as compared as an instrumentality of Rizalism in the whole span of history? Is it even a substantial part of Rizalism?
Okay. I have to make an empathically honest thing here, a statement. As long as we do not forget that we should implement what is in the charter, is that we spread the ideals and the example of the life and works of Jose Rizal, we will be an important visual representation of Rizalism in the Philippines and in the world. It is the education sector, it is the scholars, it is people who go to public education that actually influences more Rizal's image to a lot of people. Unless all of us will go to social media, unless the Knights of Rizal will institutionally invest on really making Rizal cool among the young people, di ba? We might not make as much dent. But remember that we can only, what you call this? You make do with what you have. Right? I mean, maybe in the future, when the younger generation takes over the reins of power from the Knights, maybe they would have new ideas. But we're still respecting the guidance of the wiser people now, who maybe want to take it more slowly but surely, because sometimes big changes also results to drastic downfalls, right? But also, I would like to say that as long as we do not forget that we are propagators of the life works and writings of Jose Rizal, in whatever we do, people will always see us. No, and sir, the important thing, we do not minimize our role in commemorating Rizal every June 19 and every December 30. Because we still remind people that there are followers of Rizal. And we are always in the news every time. People have shown, the Knights of Rizal have shown. So we will still be a very important part of the visual manifestation that Jose Rizal is still important in this country.
Now, sir, aside from the visual manifestation, sir, as a educator, sir, and combine that with the mission of the Knights of Rizal to promulgate the life and works of Jose Rizal. What is taking the Knights of Rizal a while to develop its own educational materials that
Mm.
has its blessing, that you can go to each individual chapters and have a material to go through. As you said a while ago, sometimes we are just known for gala parties and
Mhm.
everything. But what if the international headquarters would develop a educational material that could be used by local chapters? Thereby, they won't have any excuse, and they wouldn't not look at them as not equipped
Okay.
with educational materials to educate new members.
I believe that there's also a problem in the sense that the international headquarters doesn't have as much secretariat. You see, the secretariat's role is really to organize things to keep the organization running. Um, the Supreme Council are able to work as much as they can. So as far as their schedule allows it, because the Supreme Council are busy people. So I guess it takes, and remember, we do not have that much money. I mean, even some of us did, we even forget to pay our dues as a chapter. But this is what I will tell you now. Sir Ambeto Campo is putting up a website wherein because we have to emphasize that we are now in the year of the 160th birth anniversary of Pusenza. This is a very important year that a lot of us are not remembering because of the quincentennial celebrations for 2021. But what I'm saying here is this: Ambeto Campo is planning um, to get the Knights involved in putting up all of Rizal's works in the internet, which was done before by some Knights, but that that initiative closed down because it was handed over to the government, and the government was not able to pay the website, so it closed down. But there would be now an initiative wherein the Knights will be involved in putting up this website where all of Rizal's works will be there. But also, I think it is also important that despite the limitations that of the organization, uh, I think the organization has to really have more funds, hopefully in the future, with more members to pay more people to help in the secretariat, at least. Because when you have a secretariat, when you have people who are paid to do it, like the modules and all of that, it's there. Not that I'm saying that we cannot volunteer, except that of course all members of the Knights are really busy people. And but again, there are many initiatives from the various Knights to have books. Recently, there is a publication about Rizal's travels that we should support. There are initiatives, for example, recently, and I would like to to acknowledge one chapter, which is the Tanhay chapter from Tanhay City, which was the Knight Commander is Sir Dr. Gerard Jude Bumanglag. He was creating a space wherein people would look at Rizal's artwork in a public place. So this is now my suggestion to the Supreme Council, which is easier, I think, to be able to accomplish. Maybe the Supreme Council or the international headquarters can put up, with the help of the chapters also, suggested events that each night chapter can do. Because there's no document like that. There's only, of course, our bylaws and our manual. There are some suggested activities, but how wonderful it is if we could suggest, for example, more specific things. Like, if there are rich people in your place. You
Separate.
can distribute, for example, for the kids. There are books that rich Knights of Rizal can buy, and they could have initiatives, for example, to distribute this to school children, poorer school children, like the Bayani Biography, Jose Rizal, by John Ray Ramos, which is a very informative, easy to read book with illustrations about Jose Rizal. And also, this wonderful thing here called Halo Halo Histories Special Jose Rizal for the very, very young. Where Rizal is like placed, if Rizal lives today in the time of Instagram, what will he be posting?
Wow.
See?
Interesting.
It's, this is very cheap. If you buy in bulk, perhaps you'll have discount for 100 copies, for example, and then you can help distribute this to children across the country. O, di
That's
ba?
correct.
O, parang Instagram. See?
So is that a new book, sir? Those two books
It's a new book.
are they new?
Di ba?
Yes.
These are things that the Knights maybe can think about and give us, like, this is a directive wherein these are suggested activities that you can do.
There's really is a lot of ways that we can do things, and there's really not a lack of ideas. Knights of Rizal has been in the forefront of Rizalism. We just need to uh, be more imaginative and more up to date, maybe.
Yes.
I know there was a time when cleaning Divisoria was thought as impossible, but with political will and
Yes.
drive, it could be done. So what some don't never say it's impossible, because when great minds come together, there's always something that could be great that could come out. Again, I'd like to thank you for giving this opportunity. I am sure a lot of knights in the KOR universe, I call it, would be able to pick up ideas and maybe even clarify some thoughts that they had, or misconceptions that they have about either the Knights of Rizal or the history. At this point, sir, I would like to ask you, sir, to give a closing remarks, as it were, and talk to the KOR universe.
Una sa lahat, maraming salamat po sa pagkakataon na ibinigay nyo sa akin, sa pakikinig ninyo, lending me an ear, and having this heart-to-heart talk about us, the past, the present, and the future. Because we have to, and I appreciate your honesty, Sir Alwin, of also asking the hard questions. You are putting the Knights, the Knights of Rizal, many of us, we like to think of it as something that is, that should not be questioned in a way, because it's a very big thing. It's chartered. It's a legitimate organization. But when you put the hard questions like what you're doing, and making knights like me think about them, right, and making people think about them as well, I think we are able to mature more as an organization further. And I guess that we should have more of these conversations. We should be more, shall we say, open-minded about our faults, our limitations. We're not saying that we can fix them all, but we have to know, and we all know, that all of us are doing our very best, save our capabilities and the time permitted, to propagate Rizal and show Rizal's example, not just the knowledge. Kasi if you know Rizal knowledge, but you're a pain in the ass with your people, with your friends, with your neighbors, with your family, I believe that defeats the purpose. The main purpose of being Knights of Rizal is to, in our little lives, in our own lives, implement Jose Rizal's vision for the nation. Nakikipagkapwa-tao at nakikipagkapatiran sa isa't isa. So if you're able to prove that in your life, try, despite our imperfections. I believe that we are walking the Rizal way. and the Knights of Rizal, in which of course we all carry that name, will not be humiliated by our life, by our actions. We will fall, definitely. There would be times that it would be difficult as an organization, as members. But as Rizal said, Rizal sees the greater purpose in many things that he experienced. And in the end, despite the fact of dying, a humiliating death by execution, Rizal was able to still show people that there is a purpose in this death. In all the difficulties that we have as Knights of Rizal, as individual Filipinos, and as Knights of Rizal around the world, let us always remember that being Knights of Rizal makes us in many ways meaningful, because we are not just working for ourselves. We're working towards a higher goal. We're fraternity among each other, which is first and foremost. Actually, first and foremost is that we love each other. And secondly, because we have a brotherhood, we have to take care of each other. We have to support each other. We have to encourage each other. And then it follows what we should do for the outside world. We have to love each other first, because we cannot give love to other people if we do not love ourselves. So we cannot propagate Rizal spirit if we don't have Rizal spirit. So I guess that's it. Non omnis moria,